Alright, so here's a Farmall A carburetor. I'm going to begin to disassemble this. I do own a Farmall A. I've never taken the carb apart on that. It's always been a really strong runner. I just picked this up as I got another one in with a trade. So I'm going to disassemble this. I think it's pretty gummed up. Hasn't started in a year or more. It really didn't seem like it was getting fuel. So this was my first thought. When you start to disassemble this, it's flathead screwdrivers. They're on that bottom side of the split, which is a little bit different from the Farmall Cub. So let's get on with giving this a split here. And I did have this soaked overnight. It looks a lot better than before. Still needs cleaned up quite a bit, but it was pretty ugly on the outside, full of just gunk and grease. Okay, so I have the Zenith split now. I'm just looking at it. I haven't really touched anything, so not the worst shape. It's actually in pretty fair shape. I don't think there's any fuel in this when it was sitting. I could be wrong. So it was dry, I'm pretty sure. There was fuel getting to it. There was some fuel in this before I split it. I can't tell if they resoldered this, or this is just the way it comes. I don't know. But I'm gonna disassemble this. So that's the top, this is the bottom. This is just different. I'm gonna drop these screws all out of there. There we go. So there we go. Not really that bad, honestly. Not that bad. Give it a good cleaning. I was hoping this was the issue, just to narrow it down, but I don't know if this was my issue. Could be, so we'll see. I'll take off the needle, the seat, the float, some of those seals, and start spraying this thing out. Compressed air and some carb cleaner. All right, I finally have this Zenith Carb for this Farmall A. Pretty much broken down. It took a while to get this jet out. It was actually a 5/16. Took me a while to find a 1/4-inch socket deep well for that. So it's a 5/16 deep well. Took that out. That was the last part I needed. I'm gonna put this all into a parts cleaner overnight. There's the bottom. Here's the top. So not as bad as I thought. The gasket was leaking pretty bad. The gasket's bad on it. That's probably what I saw, but just give her a good cleaning. I got a kit coming in, don't have it yet, so I'm gonna replace most of this. Keep the float, keep the inlet for the fuel. A lot of things will probably be replaced on this, so at least I'll clean it up, keep it for spares. What I like to do, I'll put this in there. The float's okay. What else do I want to put in here? That's the old needle. No, we'll put this in. That's under. I'll put this air. Okay, I'm gonna put this in my solution here. I'm gonna stick this one on top of it. Actually, I know I can fish it out of there, so I'm gonna put both in. Okay, that's my parts cleaner. I'm gonna let that sit overnight. See how much better it is than my homegrown concoction. So, to be continued. All right, small update on the Zenith carburetor for the Farmall A. I just took it out of our cleaning solution here. I took it out, cleaned it off, decided to put it on in there for another about 24 hours. And it has come very, very clean. This looks great. Way better than my makeshift solution with some Purple Power. Really just cleaning solution. So this works a lot better. Let me know if you like this. I wanted to get the Chem Dip, but they didn't have it in stock where I was, so this actually does look really good. A lot better in person, but totally different. I have a picture. Really, I don't have a picture. I have a video. I took a picture of, I paused the video, took a picture of what it looked like before. So it looked very bad, covered in grease. This looks a lot better. So I'm gonna wait until I get my kit. Should be here in a few days, and I'll get it put back together. All right, I got one new carb kit for our Zenith Carburetor for the Farmall A, and we are going to put this back together. I'm going to work on this bottom section first. Just gave it a nice cleaning with our air compressor here. Just compressed it out one last time. Wipe it down one last time, and we're good to go. Start putting it back together. This drain was in there really tight, this drain plug, so I put that back in there. It's nice to see made in the USA. Zenith, it's pretty cool. Let's start working on this this jet right. So I made a bit of a mistake. I thought I was going to get a new one of these in this kit, and I didn't. And I really wanted to get a new one. The top of this is split a little bit. It's ugly. I'm really disappointed that this kit does not have this from Steiner. So I'm really, really disappointed about that. I am going to get a new one of these. I'm going to put this in here, hope for the best, but I will order a new one. That's disappointing. I'm going to get this needle valve adjusted in here. I'm going to go the whole way in. We'll leave it a little bit off. I'll snug it up when I get these two back together. And then I'll probably go off about it. I'll go off a spin and a half. All right, next will be the new needle and seat. Here, I'm going to put the seat on now with its seal. Here's our new needle. And it has this retainer clip for the end. I haven't seen this before. I do know they sold it this way in some models, especially with the 48 ends. But I've never used it on this A before. It didn't have it either, so I'm gonna hook that up, see what it feels like. Now I'm gonna look at this. I'm gonna put the float on it, see if I can put this retainer clip on to see if I need this or not. I might have to take this out and do this to the retainer clip first. We'll see. I'll show you guys. All right, I take the float back out and put the retainer clip on first. This is what the retainer clip looks like. I've actually never used that before. In pictures, this is what it looks like. I'm gonna test what the float looks like without the retainer clip and then test what it looks like with it. It's not much of a drop here, although it shouldn't have much of a drop. I want to compare that to without a retainer. All right, the difference is very minimal. Minimal difference. I bent them a little bit just to match what it was prior. But again, very, very, and they sit the same, sit properly the same. So we're gonna move on here, work on our next step. That gasket is back on here, and let's put these two halves back together. All right, our two halves are back together. Just 4 flathead screws. Those were actually solid. I couldn't get this thing apart when I first got it, so I'm really happy that they were sliding there nicely. I think our throttle and choke here are fine. They are working normal, so I'm going to keep those working normally. I'm going to just keep the rest for spare parts here. I'm going to put this fuel line here in, this end in, and we're good to go. And here's our final product. We're good to go, ready to put this thing back on. I'm going to drive here tonight, put this back on, see if we can get this thing fired up. So thanks for sticking around. This is the Zenith Carburetor for a Farmall A. Ready for a new life.